Okay. And hopefully now you'll see a little icon on there somewhere that says this is recording. So we can get started here. I want to say first, thank you, both to you, Shelly and Florine, and of course to Greta. Maybe she'll pop in, for your willingness to be a part of this conversation, for sharing your goals and your passions with us. And we're excited to have this conversation. And thanks, obviously, to my colleagues who are part of this network. We've been doing this a lot lately, so appreciate it. We'll start by introducing ourselves. Again, my name is Kyle Anderson. I'm one of the pastors at the Presbyterian Church of Lawrenceville. I've been on staff there for about 2 years and a part of the area for about 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, go ahead.
My name is Ryan Ermer. I'm the pastor at Slackwood Presbyterian Church. I've been here 5 years now and love being a part of this community, and both have a wife, Amelia, that works in our public school district, and a daughter that is moving on from intermediate school to middle school.
I am Tahira Gomez-Smith, and I have been a resident of Lawrence Township since '92. That would make it 27 years. Oof. No, I'm so sorry. To 96, from 96, so 26 years. 26 years. I have raised 4 children in Lawrence through all the schools and some of the colleges around here. So I am a representative for the Baha'i faith community of Lawrence Township, which has been in the town since the 60s. So.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Florine Vereen-Woods. I was born and raised in Lawrence, went to Lawrence High. I'm 49 years old. Have children in the Lawrence School District. My son graduated in 2013 from Lawrence High. He's now a music therapist. And I have one child going into the 11th grade and one child going into the 7th grade. I've been here pretty much all my life, besides moving out for about maybe 2 years.
Good.
Shelly?
Me? Hi, I'm Shelly Vereen. I'm Florine's sister, and I spent most of my life in Lawrence Township. I moved down to Florida for about 13 years. I've been back for approximately 6. I raised my daughter in Lawrence Township. She went through the public school system as well as myself. And I'm back and I'm ready to be a part of the community, and we're going to make some things happen, we hope.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Absolutely.
Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jeff Vamus. I also serve as one of the pastors at the Presbyterian Church of Lawrenceville with Kyle, and I have been here since 2005, so 15 years, and it's been a pleasure to live in this town. I have a son, Will, who is a rising junior in college.
Wow. Can't believe that.
Goes by fast.
Yeah.
It's funny. My son is 4 and he's going into college, seems like.
Yeah, they do that.
Kathy, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, please excuse me for not showing my face. I overslept. But I wanted to be part of it. I bolted up. I'm sorry, I slept really late today. But I'm a member of the Baha'i community of Lawrence Township, and I grew up in Hamilton and moved to the Virgin Islands in 1981, and I just moved back here in 2017. Bought a tiny little place in Lawrence Township, and I've made it my home, and I love Lawrence Township, and I want to fully be a part of it. Well, I've been trying to be fully a part of it. But my sister and I are planning to come to the march, and I wanted to find out more about it.
Very good.
Wonderful.
All right. So thank you everyone for being here. We've sort of, Florine and Shelly, you've sort of introduced yourselves a little bit already. You know, one part of this conversation is to talk about the event that's happening. And so I wonder if you might be able to tell us a little bit more about that event. What are some of the details? What are your goals and vision for that event on Saturday?
Okay, well, the route, we're going to start off marching from the Central Park ball field on Edwards Crossing Road. We're going to come down Edwards Crossing Road to Vereen Road, turn onto Albemarle, and then down Johnson Avenue. And at the end of Johnson Avenue, where the Edwards Crossing Village is, we're going to cut across, and we're going to end up in Gilpin Park. And at that time, we've invited several people to come and speak. And we're going to rally, and our rally cry is Black Lives Matter, how important it is to vote. And we've invited the League of Women's Voters and a number of other folks to come out and speak to us about the state of the nation. Racial prejudice, the lack of voting, so many things that are going on right now that we need to try and, make some changes. So that was my focus when I woke on several months crying and wondering why. And first I realized that I was grieving for the Black lives that were being taken on an almost daily basis, and decided that, what can I do? And this is what I came up with. I reached out to Fred Vereen is my uncle. So I reached out to him knowing that he's been a big community leader all his life, and that he would be able to help and guide me. And he led me to you guys. And I'm so grateful that you are allowing yourselves to be a part of this. And I think that the more people we get out there to hear what we need to say will make a big difference. One of the things I do want to know is what types of policies and procedures that maybe Lawrence Township Police have in place or intend to put in place in regards to the way they interact with people of color when they make a stop, or even when they're just having a conversation with a young Black man or a young woman, and to not be so fearful of the fact that maybe one of my grandchildren will walk out the door one day and not come. I've had some pretty good relationships with the Lawrence Township Police Force, but I think that we all need to have our voices heard in saying, this is unacceptable. Whether it's Minneapolis, Texas, California, changes need to be made. But I think the main thing is that we can make a lot of changes in the polls. So we have got to, especially the young folks, we've got to get them out there to vote. We've got to get them more involved in our community activism. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. And I think, did I read somewhere that in working with the League of Women's Voters, there's going to be opportunities for people who are not registered to vote to register to vote as well?
Absolutely. They are going to set up a table at the rally, and they're going to have no-touch packets. And so we're going to announce at the rally that people are certainly welcome to pick up a packet. And I'm going to share with them that I hope that they don't take them home and sit them down and not pick them back up. So we really want to bring that home. Several of the young people that I invited to come out and speak, one of them, Isaiah Cole, he is the athletic director of Christine Sykes Academy. He's also my nephew. And he's very passionate about community activism and voting and making sure that young people realize that they can be heard and they can be heard through their votes. So Nicole Plett, she will be there with some of her colleagues. She has also asked me to join, which I have, the League of Women Voters. And so we're going to also speak to some of the women and hopefully pull in some of the young women to say, come join this group, come, see what they're about and talk to them about the importance of voting or registering other young folks if they're registered voters, to talk to your friends and colleagues and say, hey, are you a registered voter? If not, let me help you with that. So she will be there.
That's great.
Good. Yeah, I think those things are so important. And we had talked on the phone. I'd said, dialogue is really important, but also beyond that, I think if we're trying to affect change, getting out and voting is one of the most meaningful ways that we can not only continue that dialogue, but have our voices heard to bring about real change, meaningful change.
Yeah, we certainly, it's a bit sad that sitting around the kitchen table in the 60s, speaking with our parents and them talking to us about protesting and the importance of voting and the state of the world at that time. And 50 years later, we're almost stuck. We have to, we've got to move forward. We have so much work to do. This morning, I was kind of thinking about where do we go from here? And one of the things that kind of jumped in my head was like some type of town hall meetings, whether it's actually at town hall or maybe the Lawrence Neighborhood Center or the village, but to continue to talk about the changes that are needed. To continue to talk about what do we do next, to share with some folks. I think that unfortunately, if I were to just walk up on 5 people, whether they are people of color or not, and say, who are your representatives? Who's name 3 people that are in Congress? Name 2 or 3 senators. Would they be able to answer that? Say it. There's so much we need to do. There's a lot, and we've got to figure out how we're going to get it done. So that's one thing that I would like to see happen, whether it's monthly or weekly or twice a year, something. But I think we need to keep a dialogue open with everyone and talk about a lot of things that need to be changed, a lot of things that need to be put into place, and see how much change we can affect.
Yeah,
I'm just a grand trying to make this a better world for my.
I don't think we got that last comment. Could you say it again? Because I think it's really important to hear. Your audio cut out.
Oh, and what part?
I think you're saying I'm just a grandmother.
I'm just a grandmother wanting my grandchildren to have a better life. So I've got to move out of my comfort zone, which I realized, wow, this past couple of weeks that I really moved out of my comfort zone. But I'm okay with that because I don't want my grandsons or granddaughter to have to sit down and have this same type of meeting 10, 20, 30 years from now. That's my prayer, that we can affect some change and we can have a better world for these young folks and have them be a big part of it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of important things there that you've mentioned, and I want to come back to some of those. But before we do that, I wanted to give Florine a chance to get in. We've heard a little bit about the details of the event, but I'd wonder, Florine, if you'd be willing to share your perspective, sort of why this event. You know, why are you doing the things that you're doing, and yeah, you know, your thoughts.
Okay. Well, so about 2 days after the murder of George Floyd, I was getting dressed, getting ready for work, and I broke down. And I sobbed probably for about 5 minutes. It just hit me. Like, I remember me being a young child, seeing, you know, things on television, you know, with police brutality, racism. And now, 40 something years later, it seems like there's no change. I remember my dad, who was a straight A student, I remember him telling me when I was a young child that he got accepted to go to Lawrenceville Prep School. And when he got there, they saw the color of his skin and they wouldn't let him in. It touches me, sorry. You know, I have children, my husband. I worry, but he works 11 to 7. When this was going on, I was calling, you know, the police stations. He works in Robbinsville, to see if it was okay for him to be on the road. Would he be pulled over? You know, just fear of him making it there safely. So in that same day, my sister Shelly called me and said she wants to put this together. And I'm 100% behind her. I don't want us to have to, especially my children, or just any person, to live in fear of walking down the street, to live in fear of driving. Honestly, my son is kind of oblivious. Not saying that he's not intelligent, but I didn't raise my kids, you know. Okay, let's put it like this. My youngest daughter, who's 12 now, she came home in the 3rd grade and she said, "Mom, what's the N-word? We don't teach that in our home. You know, I'm strongly against it." And then I had to, you know, go through, you know, the teacher, the child that said it to her, saying that all Black people were. You know, me growing up in Lawrence, and my family's a rainbow. You know, we have so many different races in our family. And this has been since I was a little child, where Black and whites really didn't marry, but my brother did, you know, and then from then on, it's just, you know, there's just we just have love, pretty much. It's love, you know, it's love. We never saw color. And I know it's there. Well, of course it's there, but, you know, and that's how I taught my children. So my son kind of scares me. And I mean, I talked to him, Shelly's talked to him about it, because I want to say maybe he's trust everyone. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have faith in people. I think the good always outweighs the bad, all the time. But, you know, it's hard for me to, like, it's not hard for me to tell them, but to explain that you have to be on your guard. And I shouldn't have to, this day and age. I shouldn't have to explain that to my children, to be on their guard when they're going out in the world. I mean, it's hurtful, it's shameful. Just, yeah. So this is why I'm doing it. A change needs to come. We said that over 60 years ago, and hopefully we can make a difference. And we're not going to have just this one rally. We want to do this, more than once, hold events even. It can't stop here. And like my sister said, with registering to vote and voting and getting your voice heard is what we need also. So that's pretty much, where I am.
Thank you, Florine. I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing your story and your willingness to share that with us.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? I don't want to keep doing all the talking.
I just wanted to say that I'm glad to hear that it's not a one-time thing. And even though, we haven't even had the first thing, I feel that I would like to commit to working with you on this.
Thank you.
Because although I am white, you can't see, but I'm a white person.
And that's okay.
But I have a
take them all.
I have a rainbow family too. And the reason I moved back here is because even though I never had children, my sister had a daughter who has a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old. And, we are very worried about those children and having to have those conversations with my great nephew and great niece. And so, and we never had to do this before. And so, because they're getting older and out in the world more, and because the world just is in such chaos right now, we feel, this is my sister who's coming with me to the march. We went to 2 other marches in Princeton and the other one in Lawrence, but we feel a need to commit ourselves to this. And so I can't commit her to the long term in Lawrence because she lives in Hamilton, but I'm committing myself. I'd like to work together with you. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
I just want to say I've enjoyed working with Fred, who is cousin to you all.
We were cousins, but because he's considered one of our elders, we call him uncle.
Yeah. Well, I know I've worked with him for many years, and I've been on the Every Child Valued board since it was formed, and really enjoyed working with Fred. And I know how pleased he is that you all are doing this too, and that we're doing it together. And I want to do everything I can to support the effort. And we as a congregation, I just wanted to say, Shelly, like, unless you're out of your comfort zone, maybe you're not listening hard enough to what's going on here. So I think there's a lot of comfort zones being escaped here. One thing though I'm curious about, you mentioned the police, and we had a conversation with Brian Colario, and kind of doing some initial due diligence about things that we knew needed to be checked on, and we have felt like having an open dialogue was important there.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we did not have a representative from the Black community in that conversation for various reasons. So that may be some work that we keep going with. And but anyway, you mentioned that, and I wondered if you could say more about what you see as the work needing to be done there. And maybe you have ideas or about how we figure out what it is that might need to be done there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I had an incident with a young officer, and so now I felt as though because for me it was like the mother in me stepped in, and so I was able to fix it. But one of the things I'd like to know is, have they offered them any type of training in regard to community interaction with community, and being mindful of the fact that more than likely, especially the rookies, the gentleman that I had contact with, when he walked up on me, I knew he was baby. I mean, he looked like he was 15. And so apparently someone had hit my car at the farmer's market, and he kind of had it backwards. And, you know, I didn't even realize he was behind me. And so when I got out of the car, out of the vehicle at the store, and I happened to have my nephew with me, Florine's son, the child had already exited the vehicle, and I was stepping out, and the officer yelled, "Get the F back in the car." So the first thing I said to my nephew was, "Get in the car, put your hands on your thighs, don't move." I put my hands on the steering wheel. He confronted me. Now, when he asked me for my license, I said to him, "My bag is on the floor in the back seat. Can I reach back and get my purse?" Now, my nephew, this young man who's got friends who are of every nationality, without thinking, he started to reach back for my purse. Scared me to death. I said, "Don't move. Keep your hands on your thighs." I should not have had to.
Mhm.
No, no, no. I don't want to have to talk to these children and say, you know, because we have to walk a fine line when we say to the children, you have to be mindful of how you interact with the police. But I also need them to know that most police officers are good people. They are here to protect and serve. They want to know you as a person, I would hope, if they come across you on the street and decide that they want to have a conversation with you. I don't want my children or my grandchildren or my nieces and nephews to be afraid that here comes a police officer and I haven't done anything wrong. So what I want to know is, are they aware of these types of things? Do they have policies and procedures set in place where they maybe on a yearly basis have some type of program for the officers to attend where they discuss the matters of the world and race relations and systemic racism and things like that? That's what I want to know. How are they training these officers to walk out every day knowing that they could be putting their lives on the line? You know, I respect them and the job, but I also have to train my grandchildren, my nieces and nephews, that there's going to be times where you're going to have to move around a little bit differently when confronted by an officer. So because most of them do reside in Lawrence Township, I would love for us to be able to sit down with them and talk to them and hear their ideas or what they have in place or not in place, and we can talk to them about what we would hope that they could do to better serve the community. I hope that answered the question.
It also sounds like they need to hear what you went through.
Mm-hmm.
In a safe atmosphere for you to be able to share that.
Sure.
So you need people with you who can, you know, help you through that and make you feel comfortable sharing that, because me hearing that sounds horrible. I mean, just the very first word out of his mouth, he should never say that to anyone.
Absolutely.
So I say that because I don't have a solution, but I'm just saying that, you know, you want to hear what they're doing. Well, I think they need to hear experience, but perhaps, you know, the clergy in some way could provide that kind of comfort for you to go forward and share that, or maybe, you know, as a group rather than just an individual, you know, where it's a meaningful conversation, in other words.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah.
I apologize, but I have to go. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Florine.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Florine.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being here.
Hope to meet you soon.
Thank you. I'll see you
See you soon.
Saturday.
Okay.
See you
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
For those who,
Shelly, Oh,
I was
go
just going to
ahead,
mention for those who joined late, Florine was joining us while working. So we appreciate the time that she was able to give to us this morning.
That's great.
Yeah, Kathy, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, because I looked at the weather and I see a lot of rain in the forecast for the weekend, and do you have plans, contingency plans?
Well, we did do a rain date for Sunday.
Yes.
Although when I was putting this together, I realized later that Sunday is Father's Day.
Oh, right.
So I'm open to suggestions.
Mhm.
So I last night I was speaking with Florine, and I'd said to her, you know, our rain date was Sunday, but it dawned on me that that's Father's Day, and certainly we want folks to be able to celebrate their fathers and grandfathers and all of that. So I was thinking maybe if we're going to be having all this weather, then maybe we should think about the following Saturday.
Yeah, there is another, I was gonna say, there's still not 4th of July, so there is one weekend in between that, which is probably feasible.
Yeah, you know, I really wanted to do this month. July 1st, I'm scheduled. I'm scheduled. My fingers are crossed for a surgery on July the 1st. So I really was hoping that, you know, we could
Right,
get
but
this
that's
in.
what I mean. There's a weekend in between that, not June and July.
What's that date? I'm scared to go away from this group or I won't get back.
Yeah, I'm looking at 27th for Saturday, 28th for Sunday.
27th, Saturday, and 28th. So maybe I think what I'm gonna do tomorrow morning, if the weather hasn't changed, you know, or their forecast hasn't changed, that I will start putting out the word through social media and phone calls and emails and texts, a change of date to the 27th. Now, for me, okay, so I was speaking to a friend in New Jersey a few minutes ago. I happen to be sitting in Levittown right now, and it's not raining. But when I was speaking to her right before the conference, she said it was pouring in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I was, with that being said, I was going to say, if it's like this, then I would say we go ahead and march. But I mean, it's only misty over here. It's pouring over there, so she said. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on the Weather Channel up until about 9 or 10 a.m. tomorrow, and then I'll make a decision whether or not we're going to move forward or knock it into the following weekend. And then you guys really hope that my doctor doesn't say I need to be self-quarantined. So,
Yeah.
we can hope. We can hope. I'm going to keep my hope alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, I was going to say, you have my cell phone number and our emails, so please do keep us posted. We'll help you share that information if the date needs to be changed.
Sure will.
And where are you on social media?
I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook.
But you personally? You personally?
Me personally? I'm okay. So thank you so much, because we've started a page on Facebook called Generations for Change.
Okay.
Please.
Generations for Change on Facebook.
Yes.
Great.
I just want to say, you know, a couple of things. I'd be glad on Father's Day to come out to celebrate it for me, but I would hate for there to be a low turnout because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know that the weather it may be okay. I mean, I don't know. The thing I looked at said 17% or something like that, chance of rain. But in terms of the other conversation with the police, I do think, you know, we've heard you that there may be more conversation we need to have, and if the clergy can facilitate that Kathy suggested, maybe we should look at that. We're also talking to the superintendent of schools, and a couple of really concrete things to think about. And I certainly I want to take direction from a broad group of people who might have wisdom, but hiring teachers is something I think that I've heard is a really important thing that we should attend to, as well as practices that make the police more cooperative with the community.
Yeah,
So anyway, I think we all need to show up for that. I've got a community organizing background where I just feel very passionate about people doing their own research about what needs to be done, as opposed to policymakers telling you what they want to do. I can, don't get me started on all of that stuff, but anyway, I really I think that those are things that we need to keep our eyes on the prize with.
Absolutely. Yeah. That sounds great. Yeah, Uncle, I don't know if you guys call Fred or not.
I call him Uncle Fred.
We call him Fred.
No, don't tell him I said that. But anyway, he and I were having a short conversation the other day, and he kind of, lit a fire under me in regards to something I forgot to speak on. I'm a little nervous, but we were talking about how when I was in school, there was no Black history. And he showed me a letter that he had written back in 1966, asking the school board to implement a program of Black history, as well as the hiring of more Black teachers. And so I think that's something else that we need to focus on. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing that up, because it made me think about the conversation I'd had with him the other day in regards to, and I know even my daughter who went through the Lawrence Township school system, and she's 41, what she was taught about Black history was taught at home, and, I'm all for us all teaching at home, but what about in the public school systems? Because we all need to know about Black history, and I'm not just talking about the Black kids.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, how many of us knew about what Juneteenth was all about?
Right.
We went to a celebration last year, our Juneteenth celebration last year down in, I think, Burlington County, and I remember asking one of the organizers, how long has this been going on? And I don't think they've ever had a celebration like this in the area I'm from. And he said, we've been doing this about 5 years. But what I felt was sad, it was in this big park, and I probably could have taken a half hour to count everyone that was there. There probably was no more than maybe 125, 50 people, but people don't even know what that is. Our young people walking around, whether it's Black, white, Latino, it doesn't matter. A lot of them know who Martin Luther King is, maybe who Malcolm X is, but they don't know enough. They don't know what a contribution the Black American has made to this country. And I think maybe that's why some, have a closed mind and or ear to what is going on or how we feel. And you hear people say, okay, I'm tired of hearing about Black Lives Matter. Well, I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of thinking that maybe I'll get a phone call and one of the children didn't make it home. One of my nephews and his girlfriend are considering a cross-country trip right now. That scares me. That should not scare me. I should be saying, go on your adventure, have a good time, be safe. Everyone wants their kids to be safe, but I want them to be safe from flat tires in the night. I don't want them to be afraid of the police officer they may have to ask to help them because they're lost, and okay. I'm done.
I hear you. Yeah. Well, just a little bit of background. We hear you, obviously. I mean, one of the wonderful things about this town is that we do have living diversity.
Yes, yes, we do.
This is a town composed of many, many people,
Yes.
which is awesome. And it's one of the prime directives, if I may, from Quilt is to celebrate and cherish that unity in our diversity.
Yes, absolutely.
And from the many faiths to the many colors to the many nationalities, that's who we are. And you're right, we need to learn about that.
Yes.
They say history is pertinent to the one that writes it, but we are all writing history.
Yes.
That's the thing. And then those voices need to be heard.
Yes, absolutely.
So I agree that we need to have these conversations, but I also know, like Jeff, from a very much a community background, that working together is the best way to acknowledge and understand that value.
Yes, absolutely.
So although I agree that we need to continue the conversation, expand it, and go into those nitty-gritties of training the police, hiring administrators that look like everyone, in the schools and in the businesses and in the government, we also need to come up with, one, what does the community need, and how can we all do it together?
Yes.
So working together, it's I think, kind of our goal, our perhaps long-range goal as to get those conversations to travel to.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I want to be mindful of our time. We're getting a little long here, but I wanted to sort of just kind of, Shelly, give you the opportunity. Is there anything else that you want to say or share with us? Are there any concrete suggestions you might have for us? How can we support you? How can we support, like Tahira is saying, what can we do as a clergy network to help support that coming together as a community? How can we support you? Any final thoughts, anything? I guess.
So first, I want to thank you all. I so appreciate you all, and it does my heart good. And I just want to say that, some of the things that we did talk about, I say step forward with me in facilitating conversations with the local police, with the community. As much as I can, I will be there. 1 week after surgery, I'm gonna be ready to go again. And so I would love to at some point have everyone's name and number, so that and you can have mine, and we can reach out to one another, and we can further discuss where do we go from here. I welcome all advice, ideas, suggestions, and I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate you, and I would love for us to all work together. And I'm gonna grab up a few more people from Lawrence Township.
So when is your surgery, Shelly? We'll make sure that we pray for you.
Thank you so much. Prayer, I'll take it all the time. And so on July 1st, please keep me in your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, and although people think clergy have a little more sway with, making weather happen a certain way, whatever we can do, we'll pray for good weather on Saturday too.
Oh my goodness, yes, yeah. We definitely want some decent weather on Saturday. And like I said, I don't care if it's drizzling. I'll walk in the drizzle, but I'm not going to walk in a monsoon. But certainly if it's looking like it's going to be a washout, then I'm going to reach out to everyone, and we're going to reach out to everyone. We're going to just move it out and say, okay, we're going to pray for June 27th and or 28th. So, but I have faith that we're going to have decent weather.
Good.
They don't always have the right forecast.
That's true.
Well, prayer and faith, they go together.
That's right. Absolutely. And worry or pray, but you can't do both.
That's
so
right.
I'm praying.
Good.
All right.
So is there anything else? Like I said, I'm open to ideas, suggestions, advice, questions. I'm just a grandmother trying to do the right thing.
I think you're on the right track. I so appreciate the work that you've done to this point and your commitment to this cause and to being a part of this dialogue. I think this is a really important conversation.
Well, I certainly appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one quick suggestion as I looked at the Facebook page that you have for Generations for Change.
Yes.
And I see that you have the event under just kind of the, I don't know if it's not the story, but it's not under as an event. So the more items you put in, the information gets further and further down. It's harder to see. So I would recommend going under the part where it says events and having it be an actual event that is going to stay right towards the top and people can get all the easier access to the information so we can get as many people as possible.
Okay, great. My sister Greta, who couldn't navigate through the technology, started the page, so I will reach out to her as soon as we're finished here and have her go in or make me an administrator and
create an event, an actual event.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's been great hearing you and listening, and I'm glad that we can continue to work together.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for participating in this conversation. It's an important conversation, like I've said, and I hope that it's one that continues this weekend and as we move forward as a community together. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you all and everyone. Great
Take care,
day.
everyone.
Stop
Good to
dancing
see you.
in the
Good to
rain.
meet you.
God bless.
Stay safe, stay healthy, stay dry.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm going to go out there.
All right.
All right.
Take care,
everyone.
everyone.